FLOSSTUBE friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026, and I'm here to share my stitching with you for the month of January. If you're new, welcome. If you found me after my whip parade at the end of December, I'm glad you decided to come and check out a little bit more what I have to share. And if you're a returning viewer, it's always great to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming back and letting me share my stitching with you. I just wanted to start off with, I had a question in my last video from the Sky Blue Stitcher. She has a channel here on YouTube, and I will link that in the description box down below. But she was curious about my finish for the DMC color card that I had done. And she was just curious how I kind of put it together to make it like a folding card. So I thought I would just quickly try to summarize that a little bit to give you an idea. But if you have more detailed questions or you want more detail, then feel free to leave a comment or you can email me. My email address is in the box down below. So this is the DMC color card. I stitched this on an 18 count Aida. So when I was fully finishing it, and I knew when I started stitching it that this is what I ultimately wanted to do with it, is to make my own color card. So once I finished stitching it and ironing it, I decided how much of a border I wanted away from all of the stitching. So, you know, here at the top and here at the sides. And so I decided I wanted about a 1/2 inch. And then I also wanted a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I ended up cutting my Aida 1 inch from the edge of the stitching. And then I cut a piece of backing fabric. This is kind of like a canvas fabric that I picked up at Michael's a long time ago. I don't know if they even carry it anymore, but I chose it because it's kind of a heavy duty fabric. But so I cut a matching piece of that and I put them right sides together. And then I sewed around 3 sides. So the 2 ends and the top. And I left the bottom open. And then I decided where my folds, I guess you would say, were going to be. So basically, there's 20 columns. So just, you know, between after every 5 columns, that's where I was going to make the fold. And I actually drew a line on my fabric because I have the Simplicity air dry marker. So yeah, I could just draw the line and it will just eventually, the air will dry it and it will go away. So I marked that, and then I sort of measured how big that area was going to be between that mark and between where my stitching line was, and cut 4 pieces of cardboard. It's actually comic board, which is acid free, and I cut it down probably about 1/4 inch less than what the actual dimensions were. And then I slid those 4 pieces in from the bottom. And then I folded that bottom seam allowance up inside to make like a clean edge at the bottom. And then I top stitched. So you can see this little top stitch all the way around. So I top stitched all the way around, which caught that open bottom end. It caught that fabric and sort of finished that off. Now my pieces of cardboard were in here kind of shifting around a little bit, but that was fine because once I had it all enclosed, then it wasn't too hard to kind of just, you know, shift them where I wanted them to be. And then I basically just stitched a straight line down each section. So the boards are just in there, and like technically they could shift around a little bit, but they tend to stay fairly well. And then I could just fold it, and then I have my color card. So I hope that helps a little bit. Again, if that's not clear, if you have any other questions or want more details, then as I say, just mention it in the comments or send me an email, and I'm happy to share that. But I hope that helps. And again, I'll link the Sky Blue Stitcher's channel down below if you want to go check out her channel. Okay, so let's jump into the stitching. I should mention I'm in a different spot today. I normally sit at my kitchen table, but it's a bright sunny day. You maybe would have seen that in usually my opening screen is a picture out my back patio door of what the day looks like. So you kind of get a little glimpse into my corner of the world. But it's a bright sunny day, and where the sun is in the sky this time of year and the time of day that I film, it creates a really bright sunlight from the side kind of thing, and it makes it hard with the lighting and everything. So I thought I would try from my living room, and I'm facing the north window, so I'm not getting any direct sunlight, but I'm getting decent light because it's very snowy, as you probably saw in that photo at the beginning. It's very snowy, reflecting the sunlight. It's blue skies, so it's a beautiful day. But yeah, just make some lighting challenges. So I hope this works okay, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna jump into my stitching. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is my focus project. So this is a project I've decided to focus on this year. It is a dimensions kit called Mare and Foal. I'm kind of stitching this along with Christine over at Calico Whimsy. I'll link her FLOSSTUBE down below. She had mentioned in her plans for this year that she was going to stitch on this project and finish it because in the Chinese zodiac, 2026 is the year of the horse. And so I mentioned that I had it too, and that maybe we should challenge ourselves to both finish it this year. So we're doing what we're calling a finish along, or a foul, and we're both hoping to finish this year. Christine, I think her plan is if she finishes this one, she's going to stitch on another horse project, or she's going to start another one of her dimension horse kits. So I'm excited to see if she gets hers finished, which one she starts. So this is my focus project. So I usually try to stitch on it 1 or 2 days a week, usually on the weekends. I'll put a picture up of where it would have been the last time you would have seen it. Hoping I'm not too close here. It's a little bit harder to show stuff. So here is where I am at now. So you can see I got quite a bit more done. I came all the way across the top. So this is the end of the piece. And then I started adding some more down in on this side. I'm going to work across sort of another, sort of like a 30 stitch high row that I'm going across. So yes, that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. Looking forward to working on it again this weekend. I'm trying to catch up to Christine because she has more done than I do, but that's okay. I've got all year, so hopefully, hopefully. So that's my focus project for the year. So then let's talk now a little bit about my weekly whips. So the first whip I worked on in January for a week was another dimensions kit called Peking Pups. This is what it will look like when it is done. Kind of a fun kit, a little bit unique and different than a lot of my other dimension kits. As you can see, like a lot of this isn't stitched. So this is just the white fabric that it's stitched on. Of course, this in the center is full coverage. And yeah, very limited color palette. And I sometimes find that it seems to go a little quicker. But so that is Peking Pups. I'll put a picture in of where it would have been the last time you saw it. And here is where it is now. So I've got this whole left side. That's all completed. So now I'm starting on that center section, which is the full coverage with the dogs on there. So yeah, I got quite a bit done. Now, again, other than that dark section, which is full crosses, everything else is half stitches. So yeah, that goes really quickly. But it was fun seeing that right side of or left side of the door come together. So yeah. So that was Peking Pups. The next, sorry, I'm just reaching where stuff's in here. The next project that I worked on was Dear Friends. This is a Plum Street Samplers. A couple of cute little deer. Lots of fun colors. I will put a picture in of where it would have been the last time you saw it. And here is where it is now. So I've got that big pumpkin done in front of the deer, and I started on the other tree. I was gonna leave the second deer for the end, kind of as my reward for getting through all those leaves and the trees. But I've realized the color used in the deer is also used like for the veining in every one of those leaves. And I was worried if I finished all the leaves first, would I run out of floss for the deer? Because I am getting down. I'm even worried now if I just stitch the deer if I'm going to have enough. But that's what I'm going to do the next time I pick it up, is stitch the second deer to make sure I have enough of that color, because I can fudge it a little bit easier in the leaves just with the veining. But so yeah, so that's where I'm at. Dear friends. The next weekly whip, one of my favorites, Other Dimensions kit, out of print, Thunder Ridge. Beautiful artwork, Chris Cummings. I think this one might be one of the ones that Christine has on her short list to start this year when she finishes Mare and Foal. I'll put the picture up of where it would have been the last time you saw it. And here's where it is now. So I know it doesn't look like a lot. I've only just worked down here in this grass, but there's a lot of different colors in there. Some of them are full crosses, some of them are half crosses. So there's a lot of switching colors and stuff. But yeah, I've got a good, I was getting into a good rhythm and a good flow. So I'm looking forward to when I get back to this, that I kind of have a plan for how I'm moving across the fabric. So yeah, Thunder Ridge. And then the last weekly whip that I've worked on this week is Owl. This is a kit by Andriana. But you can also buy the same kit from Luca S. The Andriana one, so this kit that I bought, comes with black Aida. The Luca S comes with white Aida, I believe. I'm stitching this along with Elisa from E Crafting in Colorado. I'll link her floss tube down below. She has switched out the fabric. She's the Luca S one. And she's doing it on like a hand-dyed, kind of like a grayish color, I think. And it looks really cool. I can't wait to see when she gets more of it done. But so that is Owl. That's what he'll look like when he's finished. I'll put the picture up of where he would have been the last time you saw him. And here is where he is now. So yeah, got a little bit more done on that wingtip. Still lots to go. I was able to get a PDF copy of this and put it in Pattern Keeper, so it works great in there, and that's making it a lot easier to stitch than trying to stitch from the paper pattern. The paper pattern is in color, which, you know, in theory is great, and I often like using that when I'm stitching things, but it's not great for marking off. Like usually I highlight on a paper pattern. Because it's all these dark colors, I think I ended up getting like almost like a paint pen from the dollar store, like a gold or silver pen that I was marking off because it would cover up the colored symbols. But so it's in Pattern Keeper now, so it goes much quicker and is much smoother stitching that way. So yeah, so that's coming along too. So those are all of my projects that I've worked on in the month of January. So let's talk about kind of what I'm going to do in February then. So I've picked 3 more weekly whips, or I should backtrack just a second. So I'm going to keep working on Mare and Foal every weekend, but I've picked 3 more weekly whips to work on. I'm just picking randomly from a wheel. So I always want to have one horse project since it's Year of the Horse. So Hunter and Foxhound will be the first one that I'm going to work on this month. And then the wheel picked Avocado Toast, the Carolyn Manning, and then Daisies, which is a full coverage I purchased off of Etsy. So those are 3 that I'm going to be working on. But for my 4th week, what I'm doing this year is I'm going to let you guys pick from the 4 projects that I worked on this month. You can pick one to go through to February, and I'll work on it again in February. So if you want to have some fun and help me decide what I'm going to stitch on next month, the 4 that you can pick from again are, so if you want to see more work done on the owl, you know, just mention that in a comment. You can just use the word owl if you want. So that is one option. Thunder Ridge, if you want to see more work on Thunder Ridge, then mention that in a comment. See, these guys. Dear friends, if you'd like me to see me work on this for another week, one would hope if I did that I might finish it, but you never know. And then the other one is Peking Pups. So those are the 4. So for Peking Pups, you can just use the word pups. For Dear Friends, you can just use the word friends. For Thunder Ridge, you can just use the word thunder. And for owl, obviously, you can use the word owl. So I'm calling that Battle of the Whips in 2026, just so we can have a little bit of fun and interact with each other a little bit. And yeah, you guys can sort of have a say in what you want to see, what projects you want to see again, or you want to see some more progress on. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fun, and I hope you guys have some fun joining in and playing along. The other thing that's coming up in February, as far as plans go, is the Olympics start, I believe, next weekend. And I'm going to do some Olympic stitching. I have decided what I think I'm going to do is base my stitching on metal count. So I'm in Canada, so I am going to put some extra stitches into my oldest whip, which is Walk with Dog. I'll put a picture up here of what it will look like when it's done. I've made myself up a little chart. Let's see. So this is my little chart. So if we get a gold medal, I'm going to put 400 stitches. If we get a silver medal, I'm going to put 200 stitches. And if we get a bronze, I'm going to put 100 stitches. So I've set it up. I'm just, for this column, I was just going to put if it's a men's or a women's event, just out of interest. And then I'll put the event, you know, whatever it happens to be, snowboarding, whatever, downhill. And then I've got spots for gold, silver, bronze. So I'll just check off whichever medals we happen to get, whether it's 1 or 2. And then the number of stitches based on which medals we get. And then I'll check this off once I've actually completed those stitches. So that way I sort of have a record, and if I get behind, I can still catch up, kind of thing. And then it might be fun at the end of the Olympics. And, you know, I've got my own little list of every event that we got medals in, and whether it was the men's team or the women's team or an individual. And yeah, just have a summary of that. So, and yeah, if I fill this page up, I'll just make the chart on another page. So that's what I'm going to be doing during the Olympics, on top of my other stitching, hopefully. We're going to see how things go. So yeah, come back at the end of February and see how Canada did with their medal count, and see how much stitching I happen to get done. So those are my plans. So let me just check my list here now that I went and switched my page. I don't think there was anything else I had to share with you. I don't have any haul or anything. I haven't purchased anything. And yeah, I've just kind of been hunkering down because, like the rest of the world, or the rest of North America anyway, it's been incredibly cold and incredibly snowy. And it's a good time to stay in and stitch. So I've been stitching, I've been playing some video games. Animal Crossing just came out with a new update, so I've been playing that a little bit, checking that out, and yeah, just staying warm, staying cozy. So thank you again, everybody, for stopping by today. Again, feel free to vote for your favorite project, which one you'd like to see me work on again next month, and come back at the end of February to see which one won the vote and which one got some more stitches put into it. But until then, I will see you guys. Bye.